Hello and welcome to Love and Biz. I'm Monique Garrett.
And I am Lester Garrett.
And this is a show where we're going to talk to you about the things that you need to do to be successful in business. Lester and I have been in business probably collectively 12 years or so, and together as husband and wife for going on 5 years. And so what we want to do is just tell you some little small business tips that we found to help us be successful.
Today we have James and Tanita from Brinkley Financial. James and Tanita, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, we're a husband and wife team, and together we started Brinkley Financial LLC. My background is in accounting. I actually started out as an auditor, so I bring a valuable aspect to the team. When we started Brinkley Financial, my husband, he has a background in business and business counseling, so we put it all together, and it was a perfect match. So we went in business 2008, and we started out serving churches.
Yeah. And it kind of started as an idea.
Okay.
My dad is a pastor, so we had a thought of, okay, how could we help churches? That's one of the number one problems in the African American community.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to find a solution to that, and my wife being an accountant, we kind of put our heads together and brainstorm accounting services and things like that.
Right. So today, our primary services that we provide in Brinkley Financial are bookkeeping, tax preparation, payroll, business formation, and budgeting.
Wow.
So these 5 services, we put them together, and they seem to be the 5 essentials to starting a business. And that's our way to be able to help a business owner from start to finish and stay with them throughout their whole journey.
So the great thing about you guys is you really are a one-stop shop.
Yes.
So when you get started and everything, like you said, there are some essential things that a business owner needs to do to put in place before they actually get started. When you're in a more of a traditional business.
Yes.
Awesome. So as we begin to approach the end of the year, we were just talking, what are some things that individuals as well as business owners can begin to do to get themselves ready for the next tax year so they don't call you all in a panic?
Well, hopefully they started already, but if they haven't started, they want to start gathering their receipts, any invoices, start pulling any thing pertaining to business expenses and income. Business meals and entertainment that you might have with clients, you would want to start pulling those receipts. You would want to start any traveling related to business. You would want to start, and I would even recommend you consulting with the accountant. That way you could know every single expense and deduction that you're qualified in your particular field.
Right. And the thing about it is, it's not just pulling receipts. It's more so gathering everything together so that you can understand what took place within your business for the year, so that when you go to your accountant or you go to prepare your own taxes, whatever you prefer, you'll understand what tax deductions you qualify for, because a lot of people will save certain receipts because they feel that it's business related, but really it may not be a 100% deduction. So it's about getting educated and knowing what do I qualify for, and then keeping up with those receipts and compiling them in a professional way so that you can keep a good pulse of your company.
Yeah, I think you said something very key. You have to know what went on in my business this past year.
And that kind of leads me to my next question. What's some of the differences between, I guess, being an individual and versus a small business owner? You think in terms of preparation for taxes, what's really the differences for being a small business owner versus an individual?
Well, to start, you will have more accounts that you're dealing with, such as bank accounts, because once you're a self-employed individual, then you would start having a business account. You would want to separate your business expense from your personal expense. So from there, it's like you have more than one account to deal with. You have more obligations to deal with. So now, if you're a partnership, you have an extra tax return that you're required to file, which is a 1065. If you're sole proprietor, you have a different tax return, and it's the same tax return, but now you have to think about your Schedule C and want to make sure everything is itemized in the proper form.
So what I'm hearing is it's not a good idea to have my personal bank account mixed with my business bank account.
Absolutely not.
absolutely
No.
not.
And the thing about it is, a lot of people don't realize the moment they've transitioned from being an individual to being self-employed as a business owner. So that's where we bring in we bring in people to give them consultations on how to turn themselves into a legitimate business, because sometimes you may have an idea. I always use the hairstylist example because they're an individual, but they're acting as a self-employed person, right? So they're taking care of clients, collecting money, but once they realize that they're operating in a business fashion, then they should take those steps to turn it into a business the proper way by, like my husband said, setting up a business bank account, choosing what's the proper entity for you, and then moving forward with the proper record keeping processes and stuff like that,
You touched on some really good stuff. One of the things that I know I've heard someone say, a lot of times traditional business owners, a brick and mortar business, sometimes it's important, if you're doing very well, to have a home-based business to help with your deductions. What are some of the things that you all could recommend, or why is it important for someone who maybe has a very successful traditional business to start like maybe a home-based business or something different?
Okay. Well, there are definitely additional tax deductions that you can qualify for at having a home-based business. When you take your business out of the home, then you give up the tax deduction, the home office deduction, for instance. That's a very good one that a lot of people overlook. They want to, move their business out of the home, but then don't realize that they're giving up that good deduction that you can take advantage of. And then any furniture that you purchase within your home, you can deduct, and anything to improve the area that you do business.
So like a new dining room table or bedroom set.
If it's used for business, and it has to go along with the nature of your company.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's really key, because I think sometimes people can think that they have certain deductions and maybe they don't. We'll kind of talk about that a little bit later. Or you could maybe mention that.
Yeah, actually, that's what I want to ask you. Can you give me or give us a tip on maybe some tracking tools? And I also hear that you got a new app out there, so this may be a good time to mention that as well.
Okay.
Yep. Well, I guess one of the best tracking tools would be the app. Because on the app, it's called Books on the Go. It's a Brinkley financial app. And on it has tools such as mileage tracking, calculators. So you'll be able to notify your accountant the exact miles that the trip took and the reason for the expense. Also, you would be able to scan your documents in as well. So if you have like invoices, receipts, you can scan those in directly, and the information will be computed to the accountant. And from there, we'll have it in our system.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we think this is so helpful because a lot of the time a client will bring us a box of receipts, right? And then you always have that select few receipts that the ink has disappeared.
Right.
That's right.
So if you are diligent about keeping your receipts, then here and there, maybe once a month, you can just go ahead and scan them into the Books on the Go app, and then that way we'll have a picture documentation of that receipt, so that if something were to happen to the receipt, there's no need to worry because we already have an image of that receipt.
That's awesome. So that definitely makes the job a lot easier, because I know for us, when we would go to our accountant or our CPA, he would have like a big box.
Like you said, I'm that person.
Of stuff. He's that person. I'm the one that keeps the receipt in my wallet, and then it gets faded, and then at the end of the year, I'm like, no, what was this for? I can't even really read it.
Yeah.
But we've kind of touched on this. So I'm sure that would allow you all to track receipts. But what are some of the biggest misconceptions about what's deductible and what's not? Because maybe us buying some lipstick or getting our nails done,
I'm glad you mentioned that.
It's deductible, and
Right.
maybe it's not.
Right. Exactly. So, okay, the overall statement is the expense has to line up with the nature of your company. So I can't sit here and say lipstick is not deductible, because if you are a makeup artist or if you are a hairstylist that provides makeup services, then you would be able to deduct that.
Right.
But if you own a home care agency and you're trying to deduct your hair products, then it doesn't line up with the nature
So
of
we
your
can't
company.
deduct our MAC lipstick.
Right.
Okay.
Well, one of the biggest misconceptions out is that you can wait up to 3 years to file your tax return as a business owner.
That
So a
is
lot of people, they wait, they get the LLC and things like that, then they wait 3 years, then file their tax return in the 4th year. Then once they file, the IRS go back, look at when they started their company, then do a statutory assessment. And what a statutory assessment is, they basically gonna do their own tax return based on your information without the deductions and everything. So majority of the time you come up with a huge tax liability in that situation. So now you owe the IRS money when that was a just misconception.
Right.
So that's a red flag then, I guess, if you wait.
Yeah.
Right. We've had situations where someone would have a letter from the IRS and they're wondering why they owe this amount of money and they haven't filed their taxes. And we're like, did you know about statutory assessments?
Yeah.
They'll file a return for you without giving you your allowed tax deductions. So that's why we just advise people to stay on it with filing your taxes on time, because these benefits are out there for you, but they're not just going to be given to you. You have to take advantage of them on time.
Yeah.
Wow, I learned something new.
And speaking of which, tax laws, just kind of mentioned it. Are there any new tax laws we need to be aware of going into 2017?
Well, that's definitely something we're all keeping our ears open with this new president.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're all on the edge with it. We definitely know the things that are in place right now for 2016 would affect the tax due date that's coming up for April 15th. So going forward, we're definitely keeping our ears to the IRS.
And I know the penalty has increased for Obamacare. Like if you didn't have insurance throughout the year, this year has went to I think $600 or something. So per person that's in the house. So make sure you get your insurance coverage.
Right, and that's something that a lot of people don't really know about. That Affordable Care Act penalty if you don't have insurance within your household. Some people will say, well, yeah, I had insurance through my job, but it was only for 3 months. So they would calculate the additional months that you didn't have health care and prorate the penalty. So you'll still be penalized if you didn't have it for the full year. And the year is almost over, so it's like if you don't have it, then it's almost kind of too late.
Is that retroactive too? So in other words, what if I didn't have it this year and last year? Would the penalty be accumulated, or do you know?
Well, you would have had to satisfy the debt last year.
For last year,
Wow.
So
I'm sorry. If you didn't meet a certain threshold, I think it was 13,000, and you wasn't required to pay the penalty.
Yeah, not everyone is required to pay the penalty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess some of our takeaways is definitely important to make sure your receipts line up with what your line of work is. Do not wait 3 years to file your taxes. Make sure that you have your health coverage, and really to reach out and consult with an accountant to find out what the potential penalties are, and how often should people kind of check in with their accountant and check in with them just to kind of do like a financial checkup.
Well, at Brinkley Financial, we do quarterly meetings with our clients. That way we can go over each quarter, plan for the next quarter, and address any discrepancies in the numbers.
And the reason we do that is because a lot of people, they wait to the end of the year and then try and reach out to their accountant, and now we're trying to figure out what happened back in January, which is almost a year ago, and it's kind of hard to recover things that happened so long ago. So meeting quarterly is just ideal to keep up with the pulse of your business.
Because if there's adjustments that need to be made, you have time to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, one other question. Our last question. So we've talked about how we're married and we're in business, and we can talk a lot about that. What are some of the pros and some of the cons? Or I'll ask you, what are some of the pros and cons of being in business with your spouse? What are some of the challenges?
Challenges is, well, you're together so much that you can't come home and say, hey, honey, how was today? Because today was together. So if it was a good day, then you're having a pretty good evening. But if it's a bad day, now you have to unwind in whatever ways you have to exercise or whatever to now come on the same page. And especially if it was like an intense meeting in the business world between two partners, because my wife and I are partners. So sometimes we have to make decisions, and sometimes head butting and bumping heads come in a factor because we're strong-minded, and as individuals, we both have the company best interest. So at times we have to understand, okay, we're both going for the same overall goal, so let's come on the same page, or let's see which plan is the best. If your plan, so we do like a a pro and con to pretty much every situation and address it in a realistic
Team meeting,
approach.
yeah.
Yep. So it's like, okay,
There's none
yeah. So if yours is better, you can have more pros, less cons. If mine's better, yours gonna have more pros, less cons, type of thing.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, it's a challenge because when you see a person as your husband or your wife, it's like you have that vision of them, and then to translate that into the workplace and respect them. I don't know, either as your boss or superior or just a business partner. Yeah. So and at home is a different ball game. So I've learned to just have that difference in my mind frame of knowing how to act at the office and how to be at home, because at home is my territory.
Right.
You're the boss. The boss.
Well, you guys are a great couple. We love following and watching you all, and love the way
Thank
you
you.
all are able to work together. If anyone out there watching would like to get in contact with you, perhaps for your accounting services, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, well, they can reach us at the website. That's BrinkleyFinancialLLC.com. You can search us on the social medias, Facebook. We're Brinkley Financial Norfolk, as well as our New York location, Brinkley Financial New York. You can search us by our names, James Brinkley III, as well as my wife, Tanita Brinkley.
We're also on the other social media engines as well, Instagram, by our first and last name. And you can also call us at our office directly, 757-905-2971.
And they can find you said on the Google Play Store at Books on the Go.
Yes.
Get your app.
Yes.
That's great. And also you said something really key is that you all have a Norfolk office and a New York office. So if someone out there watching maybe does not live in Norfolk or New York,
Right.
are they still able to hire you and work with you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Well, we want to thank you for watching Love and Biz Real Talk with James and Tanita Brinkley. We're Monique and Lester Garrett. We're also business coaches. We have several years of business experience and love working with small or startup companies. We have a great network of business associates as well that can help you. And if you would love to work with us for business coaching, you can find us at www.balanceloveinbusiness.com, or you can find us on Facebook at Lester and Monique Garrett. We also are on Instagram as Love and Biz. We just want to thank you guys. We wish you the best in your business and in your life. God bless.